odds are they're coming in your office within the next week, bringing you some hot donuts.
Some cookies.
Not even realizing they just threw you under the bus because you're probably the one who referred them.
Hey, this is Blake Davis with ProTech Inspections, joined by the one and only Mr. Dave Adams for episode 7 of Truth Over Harmony. We've got some exciting stuff that we're going to be rolling out in the near future, so stick around and join with us to hear more. Please take a moment to take a look at all of our contract partners as they support us and support you. And also take a moment to find us on Facebook and Instagram, Pro-Tech Inspections, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks everybody for joining in for another episode of Truth Over Harmony. I'm joined by the head honcho, Dave Adams, here today. So pleasure to have you finally back in the studio after so much time off. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So just kind of wanted to dive into this one. Got some things that we want to run over. But one of the things I wanted to start it out with is, you know, a lot of what I do is going out to real estate offices and getting to chat with realtors themselves. And it's funny because one of the things I always hear from agents, even ones that use us a lot, they always are like, oh, I forgot that you guys do that kind of stuff. You know, it's like for FHA foundations or sewer scopes, they a lot of the time forget that we offer as much as we do. So I kind of wanted to open up with that and let you kind of talk a little bit about some of that stuff.
Well, and I think it's interesting because we say all the time, everywhere we go, pretty much everything we do, and it's you know, we as people have short-term memory, so let's talk just briefly about who we are and what we try to do. So when I started, 2016, so 8 years now, almost 8.5, I wanted to be a one-stop shop, and I chose ProTech because of professional and technical, using technology, technical tools, things to make the inspection process easier, but also to better inform the client. You know, and the whole premise was to make it easy for a client or a realtor to schedule. So what all could we do at one time to capture part of the market to make it simple, to make it easy, but then also follow it up with good client care and technology to advance what home inspections were. So, you know, pretty much everybody knows every home inspector here in Greenville now does CO 100s with their home inspections.
Right.
What they don't know is I was the first one to do that. So when I started, I knew I needed something that would catch or hook, if you will, kind of like a song, how a song has a hook that gets you involved with it. And I thought, you know what, if I can schedule CO 100s, that'll make it easier, and it should make the phone ring. Knowing that, again, I wanted a complete one-stop shop as time went on. Little did I know then that we'd now own our own pest control company.
Yeah.
Upstate Pest Pros, and the beauty in that is, you know, we had some really great partners over the years doing pest control, but the language that a home inspector uses is so much different than the language a pest control operator or a plumber or an electrician use. So that gives us the ability to control what is being put in those CO 100s, to make sure it's accurate, it's correct, and that we're not overselling things we shouldn't sell. For example, in the first month of doing CO 100s, Blake, you probably remember I asked Johnny, I said, Johnny, what the hell? We've had one active case of termites.
Yeah.
And, you know, we used to have 3 or 4 a week. And we sat down with Johnny, and Johnny said, well, look, Clemson gives us the ability to determine whether it's active or inactive. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking the tubes, and if I see termites come up, then that's active. If I see signs of treatment, and there's no termites, well, those termites can continue to build tunnels for 90 days. I'm not going to call that active because I have treatment and I don't have termites.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to sell people things that they don't need. He said, and that's what some of these other companies do, not all of them, but they're saying active so they can get a termite treatment out of it. And, you know, that was something, that was my first big lesson in the pest control business. And, of course, we do termite treatments through the pest company, but we don't do near as many as other folks because we don't go looking for business. In terms of encapsulations and dehumidifiers, you know, French drains, that's the go-to for some people. We worked with a client the other day that had a $14,000 quote from one company for encapsulating a crawl space with a dehumidifier and a French drain and all this stuff. And we're talking moisture levels of like 23%.
Yeah.
You don't need all that. So we were able to get that quote from $14,000 down to $8,000, mainly because we were cleaning out the crawl space and there was a ton of stuff down there, and that's very labor intensive to do that. But you know, we try to treat people like it's our money that they're spending. You know, not everybody needs an encapsulated crawl space. It creates its own problem in some cases. You know, back then I was also using drones, and we've kind of stopped doing drones. The reason being is there's a lot of things you just can't see, but then there's also licensing through the FAA and additional liability. And, you know, I just, it's like a crawl space, you know, I know at least one company locally has bought inspection robots, little crawlers for going up under the homes. And while technology is a great thing, technology can't replace some things. Roofs and crawl spaces are great examples. You can't smell that crawl space. You can't feel the humidity or the moisture. The camera angle's not what the human eyes are. There's things you miss, and you know what? If you can't get into that area and you need to use a crawler, I understand that, but you can tell so much more by feeling, seeing, smelling, and even sometimes tasting in that crawl space.
Well, and
because
having
of the
a trained
odors.
eye too, you know, I mean, that just goes such a long way. Someone who does it every single day knows what to look for, knows what that smells like, and things like that. You can't get that.
Well, and what happens if you get the crawler stuck? How you gonna get it? And if it's that tight that you can put a crawler up in there, it's also that tight that you can't maneuver the crawler in certain ways, and
Right.
you can't get lights where lights need to be. You know, we'll throw up a picture here of Ben Hartzler in a crawl space, and we had to call him and say, dude, look, don't put yourself in these positions, because there was literally no way for him to turn around to get out. And but that's what our inspectors do. And you know, there's no drone that's going to find everything on a roof. There's no human eye that's going to find everything on a roof. But a drone can't lift up the edge of those shingles sometimes, and a drone can't tell you everything. And look, if there's a leak or past or current problems, you know, most of those are going to be visible in the attic, because that's where the water's coming in.
Right.
And then, you know, everybody says they have an FAA license. I've searched the FAA Airman Certificate database several times, and I've yet to find any of those names on there. So maybe there's a different one. I could be wrong, but, you know, make sure if you are using drones that you're licensed, because you could get an $11,000 fine for using it commercially. And then as a realtor, if you hire that inspector, you're going to get one of those too.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Blake, this is a great way to bring up thermal. So I was the first guy to start using thermal cameras around here.
Now, why'd you end up doing that?
Well, I did it because there's sometimes things you know, home inspector tells you it's a visual inspection.
Right.
But if you have a tool that may give you a little more information, why not use it? And And we buy very nice, high-quality cameras that can detect several different things. So, for an example, one of the things we do in every report, and you know this, is the dryer vent.
Right.
If we're testing a dryer and we're running it, we get a thermal image at the exterior dryer vent to show that heat's coming out. Making sure that dryer vent doesn't terminate in the wall.
Right, which is huge because that's the leading cause of house fires, really, is that dryer vent getting clogged up, right?
I don't know that it's a leading cause, but it is a cause.
It's up there for sure.
Yeah. But being able to know that you're not pumping all that humidity inside the walls and that there's not organic growth in there. Another thing is all the inspectors are required. You know, you see in that home inspection report a stain on the ceiling. Well, we scan the entire home, and while we're talking, here's some photos that Duvan took of some wiring. But if you have a stain on the ceiling, our inspectors are required to shoot it with a thermal camera. Is it wet or is it dry? Easiest way to know is temperature differences, which the thermal cameras catch. And these photos that you were just looking at, it's a great find by Duvan. They're brand new construction, and the wiring was pierced by the staples that held the electrical lines in place. So what that caused was increased resistance, which was heating up the lines. And this was actually a home that a realtor was buying. So these are some small cases where using technology and being properly trained for it, understanding its limitations, but using it in ways that can benefit the client gives them more information.
Right.
And that was always kind of the intent.
Right. Well, you talk about Duvan a little bit, and I know he's got quite a background that helps us with some other stuff. But before we get into more of what he does, I kind of wanted to touch on our chimney guys that we have in-house. You know, a lot of folks, if you're trying to get a chimney inspection done, it's several months out sometimes.
It can be, yeah, and we're approaching that time of year where those guys are really, really busy. And, you know, it was a recurring theme that we noticed for about 5 to 6 years. So I guess it was 2 years ago we had a part-time firefighter that we got certified as a level 2 chimney sweep, just to give realtors and our clients that availability to get it done. Now, is Tim going to find every single thing with that chimney? No, but we had a case, because we do these for other inspectors as well, and that's a point we need to make sure we touch on later. Client had scheduled the inspection with another home inspector, and I forget the reason, but for whatever reason, I had seen the house, and I'd seen the Zillow listing. Well, the other inspector said, hey, the chimney's fine. Just get it cleaned once you move in. So when the client called to cancel, I noticed it canceled, and I asked Frida, I said, hey, why did this cancel? And they said, well, their home inspector said it was fine. And I said, well, that ain't good. Now, I don't know if the home inspector actually told them that or not, but perception is reality.
Right.
So I called the client, or I called the buyer's agent, and I said, hey, look, I'm looking at this house, and I'm telling you, the 3 chimneys at this house, 2 to 3 of them have major issues. And I can tell that by the moisture signs on the exterior of the chimney.
And you could see this just in the Zillow photos.
Just in the Zillow photos.
Wow.
And the client said, well, you know, or the buyer's agent said, the client decided they wanted to just take what the home inspector said. And it was one who used us at that time for chimney inspections. So I called the home inspector and I said, hey, look, they canceled the chimney, but I want you to know I reached out to them, and this is what they told me.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's what you told them or not. I don't care. I just really feel like they're going to have some problems.
Right.
So buyer's agent called me back and said, well, he really don't want to spend the money. And I said, okay, let me do this. I said, I'm telling you, 2 or 3 is bad. It's going to be about $750 or so to scope these chimneys. If 2 of the 3 aren't bad, I won't charge him. I'm telling you, he needs it. So they agreed to let us do it. turned out to be over $50,000 worth of chimney repairs.
Wow. Wow.
Interestingly enough, that inspector no longer uses us for sewer scopes or chimneys because they kind of got offended that I did that. But, you know, I looked at it the other way. I felt like I was taking their back. I was taking the clients back. Mm-hmm. If that was their perception that the client had, that he told them it was okay, mm-hmm. then that's going to be what they tell the lawyers when they find out there's $50,000 worth of chimney repairs.
Right.
So I felt like we collaborated and did a great job together to take care of that client and also to protect that realtor. But they quit using us after that, and you know what? That's okay. Yeah. And we'll talk about some other collaborations later.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, I'm glad that you touched on that. Let's circle back a little bit on Duvan, because he's a special case of some talent that we got here. You know, he's got some background in restoration. He's also bilingual, so I kind of wanted to open that up and let you kind of talk a little bit more about what Duvan does for us and our team.
So just this morning, had a realtor reach out, do you have a bilingual inspector? And we are the only company in town that has a full-time bilingual inspector. Duvan's got a real varied background. He's a retired NYPD detective. So he approaches every house like it's a murder scene. He wants to find out what's going on. The really cool thing about Duvan, though, and you know, every inspector offers ancillary services, mold inspections, indoor air quality, that kind of stuff. But as you said, Duvan has a restoration background. Mm-hmm. And what that also means is that he has an AMRT license. Mm-hmm. That's the antimicrobial remediation technician. We are the only company the only inspection company that has an AMRT on staff. So when we're doing mold, we're doing indoor air quality, we can actually interpret those and give you something. Mm-hmm. We also changed labs. We used to use a local lab, and we still do for larger projects. Like we had one a couple months ago that required like 40 samples, so we took that to the local lab. But we also send them out, and if we do it that day, they go out that day, and we have results back the next day. So it's still very quick, but it will say elevate it, not elevate it. So it's a little more clear to the client what they're getting, where the local lab, you know, if you have an abacus and you know how to use one, that's sometimes what theirs looks like. Yeah. But having somebody who knows what that actually means. Of course, Stuart and I have studied on this as well, but we don't have that license. Mm-hmm. And I'm not aware of any other home inspector in the area that has it. So it is a qualified way to not only tell you what's going on in that house, but also what the remediation steps should be. Right. And it's not like having a remediation company come out and do it, because they're looking for work, you know, kind of like the termite inspectors that are calling inactive termites active. Mm-hmm. But we can tell you what needs to be done. Right. You know? So that's very helpful.
Yeah, no, that's a classic case of letting the fox in the hen house there. Yes. You know, when you're looking for work, it's like taking your car to the shop to get an oil change. The next thing you know, you need a whole new transmission and everything as well. So
brakes are the most common one.
Yeah,
$800 brake job, you get somewhere else for $300.
Yeah,
so.
every time. Well, you talk about quality and you know what Duvan brings to the table. I kind of wanted to touch base on another aspect of our business, and that's our client care team. We've got Frida and Jen up front that help answer all of our calls and do all of our scheduling, and they're just two peas in a pod and a bright shining a light whenever you walk in. They're always so fun to walk in and see. So I just kind of want to let you talk a little bit on them and what they bring to the table.
Well, July, I guess it was, we moved into a new office, 224 Feaster Road, Suite C. Runs between Roper Mountain and Woodruff Road, so it's convenient. We invite any of you listening to come by. Mm-hmm. We're very proud of it. It's the nicest office we've ever had. In fact, it's where we're filming now, and we'll talk about Red Rhino a little later. But we are building out a very robust call center. We expect to add more people, not just for ProTech, but as Upstate Pest Pros grows, which,
Right.
man, we've been lucky there. We started December 26, and we've already done almost 2,000 jobs, as you know. So been very blessed there, largely due to the reputation we built with ProTech. But this call center we're building out allows us to track incoming calls, which we've always been able to do, but track incoming call length to tie those to sales. So, you know, we'll have the data that if they're on the phone 45 seconds and close the deal, that it's probably just a home inspection and a CO 100. But if they're on the phone 2 minutes and 15 seconds, it's a sewer scope, a home inspection, and a CO 100. Having all that data is so important to know not only where the calls are coming from, but also the scheduling and how time on phone with clients matter. It also allows us to track callbacks. So if we do an inspection, we did an asbestos sample for a gentleman last week, and apparently he's a self-professed Google expert on asbestos. If you look at the data, you know, there were 14 callbacks. So when we start seeing a bunch of callbacks, we can get alerts, and it lets us know up front we may have a problem,
Right.
or we have an extremely particular client, and the way we respond to them needs to be different.
Right.
It needs to be more hands-on. Investing wise, I think we own probably 15 or 20 phone numbers. And, you know, just knowing where the call's from and continue to invest, knowing realtors, how much are they calling us? You know, one of the things we can cater to realtors, if we see every time we do an inspection for Susie, there's an average of 5 phone calls after, then we want to reach out to Susie and go, hey, look, I noticed you're having to call back a lot. What is it we could do to be better?
Right. Because it's not a problem that they're calling back, but it's an opportunity for us to learn and do better for it in the future.
Well, and, you know, busy realtors are just that. They're busy.
Right.
They don't want to have to call people 3, 4, 5 times. So we want to empower them to do better business by using our product.
Right.
That's something that sets us apart.
Yeah, and being convenient to use, you know, as long as we can make it as easy as possible. You know, that's our goal. And I kind of wanted you to touch on this as well, because, you know, talking about things that a lot of folks forget that we offer. A lot of times when I'm talking to agents out in the field, I'll remind them, say, because they'll have an inspection, but they're not under contract yet, right? And it's towards the end of the day. And I'm like, hey, you can always call into the office and talk to Frida or Jim, but let's say it's, you know, after 5 today and you get it under contract. If you want to, you can go online and schedule, and that calendar is linked live to our scheduling. So,
well, I think the real benefit there, Blake, and I'm sorry not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but you don't even have to schedule. In the scenario you said where you have an offer out and you're waiting on it, what a lot of agents are doing, we don't want you to take up a spot on the calendar if you don't have a signed contract.
Right.
Because we're first come, first serve. I know there's other companies here in town that save spots, and if they get used, they get used, and if they don't, they don't. But we want to always give you our first available, or be able to match your first available. So we try to stay a couple, 2, 3 days out. But that online calendar is directly linked to our scheduling system, as you said. So when you go there, and it's pro-techinspections.com/schedule, super simple. It shows you a date. We're not asking for any of the client information. We're not asking you to fill out anything.
Right.
And I did that on purpose, because I want you to be able to look at that date and see the first day we have. So I think right now, today is Monday, the 26th, I think.
yeah.
So and we're going to be publishing this, putting it out on September 1st. But if you go there today, we're scheduling Wednesday. You can click on Wednesday, which would be the 28th, and it'll show you the number of inspectors and who's available. It is real time. Some companies don't even have online scheduling. When you fill it out, it's super simple. We don't ask for a lot of dumb stuff. We don't ask for CBS codes. We don't ask for will the buyer be attending, We don't do any of that online. It comes in, and then when we confirm it, when Frida or Jen confirms it, they may call and get that information if they need it. But we're trying to just give you a quick way to put that order in and move on to the next thing. Because if you just went under contract, you got 500 other things you want to take care of.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and also touching on that, they'll schedule everything in showing time, and all of our folks have Supra in the event that they need it. So, and most folks have that. But, kind of moving away from that topic, we were talking earlier a little bit about, letting the fox in the hen house, going and doing things and looking for work to make money off of it on the back end. FHA Foundations is something that, we do, and that's another service a lot of folks forget that we offer, certifying with the engineer stamp on these manufactured homes. I kind of wanted to let you talk a little bit on that. And
well, we'll move over that real quick just because, as you know, we've been teaching these classes left and right. We did one each of the last 2 weeks. We work with attorneys and lenders because several years ago there was a seller that lost $8,000 on a deal that we had already certified. And, whomever's doing that work, if they're also the ones doing the certification, the things we're hearing right now are they're going out saying, well, this is county code. This has to be done. You can't sell it. The county's going to come out and inspect it. Well, first of all, the code when the home was put there is what matters.
Right.
And when the county people come out, they're not even looking at that. They're looking at the decks. They don't understand what a FHA or HUD foundation is. You need to get to one of our classes. So make sure you follow the website, or maybe subscribe below to this channel, because Blake is doing some pretty cool little blurbs when we have one of these coming up, and you can find out, and it'll tell you where we are and when we're going to be there. But we do so many of these that the other guys have quoted $4,000 to $8,000 worth of repair for.
Right.
And we've yet to see more than about $2,000 worth of work need to be done. And it's saving people money, and mobile homes are becoming more of the approachable price point for first-time home buyers and other home buyers. And there's nothing wrong with them. For years there was stigma, but it's, don't get caught on you got to have all these fiber wrap piers. It doesn't have to be a brick foundation. You need to just give us a call at 864-386-3810. And I'm going to move on there, Blake, because we also, I mentioned the little blurb that you're doing, and I think the first one you did was for one we did back on the 14th with Gaston Brady and Amanda Smith at Fairway Mortgage. And what a great little way to remind, but we did that in-house. So we mentioned that, the marketing, and that's a large part of what you do, but we mentioned this studio is in our office. This studio is open to realtors. Red Rhino Designs, kind of the ProTech inspection studio powered by Red Rhino Designs type thing. And Red Rhino is not a money-making proposition at all yet. Hopefully one day we will make some money off of it. But the concept was basically, let's give realtors a place to record video. Video is so powerful.
Yeah.
It is taking over social media, and we've got a few agents that do podcasts with us, but we can do audio, video, and we're even beginning to branch out, going back to that, hoping to make some money off of it, starting to do some social media engagement, social media planning and post for realtors. But it again brings another dynamic to home inspections. Why would a home inspector have a podcast studio? Well, we are home inspectors, but we're a business. We're a real estate business, and we're trying to support those agents that need the help. And when I say it's for realtors to use, and one of the brokerage owners around here says I'm extorting people, which may be true to some extent, but if you're a loyal agent for us, this studio and Dustin, our in-house graphic design and creator guy, it's yours to use for free.
Yeah.
You know, we cover all that. And Dustin does all the post-production editing and gives you a thing to post. Mm-hmm. You know, and oftentimes I get tickled. I'll go into other offices, which I don't do as much anymore, but you and I have talked about.
Right.
And you see these beautiful, cute little bags of cookies and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I've never paid to be on a list, and I won't. We don't give realtors gifts because I don't want to have to explain even one time why I did. We want you to call us because we do good work and we follow our word. Mm-hmm. Now, who don't like a good cookie? I mean, look at me. I'll eat a good cookie.
I was going to say.
But we want to do things not to feed you a cookie, but to help you grow your business. Mm-hmm. You know, I've always taken the standpoint that the easier I make it for you to do business with us, the more I help you grow your business. It in turn grows Protect. And, you know, we have numerous realtors that we've started out with, and we've helped them and said, you know, here's what I do, here's what they do. And, you know, I had a realtor tell me, or not a realtor, but a marketing person from an attorney's office one time tell me a home inspector has nothing to offer a realtor.
Yeah.
And that's one attorney firm that we'll never do an FHA class with, because we got a hell of a lot to offer realtors.
Yeah.
You know, we're working with over 4,000 of them, and we've helped bridge some gaps and deals and help realtors do things that don't cost us anything but a little bit of time. And, you know, we want to help you grow your business, but rather than buying, you know, 3 cookies a piece for 4,000 realtors, which would be 12,000 cookies.
And a lot of calories.
Yes. I would much rather have opportunities to give you sponsorship dollars for events.
Yeah.
And we have agents on a regular basis who not used us one time ask us for money, and, you know, well, what's the opportunity in it for us? We'll explore it, but, you know, we're not a benevolent society.
Right.
So, but we want to sponsor your event rather than feed you cookies. You know, the cute little bag looks great when everybody walks in and they're always smiling, but the little chocolate chips or snickerdoodles or little bags of St. Patty's Day or Christmas chocolates or whatever, they don't do anything to help grow your business. They're intended and solely to help the home inspector grow their business.
Yeah.
I don't want to woo you that way. Let me put our money where our mouth is. I'm not trying to grow our business. I want to grow yours.
Because if we can do that, then ideally we will intrinsically grow ours.
And with all the services we offer more than anybody else, we've become the largest firm in the upstate. You know, and you don't see us going to Alaska. You don't see us on cruises. Or what we do is we take our money, and first of all, we pay our people really well. That's why we have a real high retention. But that gives you consistency, and that consistency is what you need as a real estate agent. We've achieved all these things because we've focused on other people. It's not about us. I'm not looking to get rich off this. You know, we've been incredibly blessed, but it's about helping you grow your business. That is what has grown us, taking the focus. without we'll give you koozies and all that kind of stuff, but it's really swag for you to give to your clients at events and stuff.
Right.
I want your loyalty because we do so much for you through so many different services, through the studio here, that instead of going, well, I can't believe that home inspector said that, and then you just go down the list and you call the next home inspector.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of your business so that when we mess up, because we will, we're doing 4,500 to 5,000 inspections this year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Plenty of opportunities for mistakes.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to call and talk to us about it because we bring so much value as a whole that you don't just decide to up and call Uncle Joe.
Yeah. Well, and we'll always do what we need to do to make it right, and that's huge.
Well, we want to be careful there. We don't want to set the expectation that making it right involves writing big checks.
Right.
We're going to do what's reasonable, although we bought a $12,000 door over at Lake Kiowee, and that ain't going to happen every day.
I hope not.
We bought half of an air conditioner, but, I saw a post on Facebook recently. I like the one-man shops versus the big box. Well,
yeah.
We're not a big box home inspection firm. We're not backed by Walmart or Target.
Right.
But having a larger inspection company gives us the means to do those things. I am aware of smaller companies that if they refund a $400 inspection fee, they have to make payments to the client.
Yeah.
And look, that's not bad. I was told at lunch with another inspector last week that a few of the inspectors got together, and what I said was that all these little one-man guys are peons. They don't matter. They're inconsequential. And I've never said that. Just like we're helping realtors grow their business, we now, it's either 5 or 6 inspectors we're doing sewer, chimney, and termite letters for.
Yeah.
We're helping them grow their business.
Yeah.
We're increasing their profit margins, doing CL 100s for, in some cases, $40 less than what they were paying, at least 30 in most cases. That makes that company healthy and stronger. For chimney, sewer, and well inspections, it gives that access to more clients so that they can better buy a home. So we're not just looking to help real estate agents grow their business. We want to help local home inspectors too.
Right.
We want to change, and that was my premise. If you go back, and I don't know if I have copies of it or not, but the very first website we had, it said, I intend to change the home inspection industry in Greenville, South Carolina. And good friend Noah Franks with Alliance Pro, he very gracious. He has told me I'm a leader and an innovator in this industry, and I do coach other inspectors, and I have gotten known. But you know what? It's about helping clients here. Whether they call Noah, or they call me, or whether they call another inspector, if we can help their bottom line and make their inspection company successful, think about that inspector that no longer uses us because of the chimney. I communicated with them, told them what we did, and kept them from having a big problem.
Yeah.
But what they decided to do was just not use us anymore. That thing on Facebook that we're seeing all the time, what does it say?
People at the bottom like to compete with each other, and people at the top, they always collaborate.
Yeah. So we're blessed with some great real estate agents and some great home inspectors. Another thing too is teaching CE. I think I'm the only inspector that's CE licensed out of the state.
Yeah.
And thank you, Laura Spangler at GGAR. She's got me on the instructor list over there. So I think we teach 7 or 8 times a year over there. And
typically.
we can also teach in your offices, and we don't charge anything for that. It's just another value add.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, very cool. Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of touched on growing your business and how we'll hopefully grow ours at the end of the day. One other thing in terms of value that I think is awesome that we've been able to grow over the last year or so is our contractors that, we're able to refer out. There's some big problems that we come across in these homes, and to be able to have, and the thing I really love about it the most is, Greenville is growing so fast, right? And so many people moving from out of state, whether that's up north, out west, or just North Carolina, something like that. They don't know who does the best work or who does good work in general, who to call. They just want to be able to, they see that home inspection report and they go, well, who can I call about all this? And now they have all those resources in the inspection report itself. So I kind of wanted to let you kind of close a little bit on talking about some of our contractors among some other things, but, talk about that value and what that brings.
Well, we have all our traditional services too. And that, water quality, make sure you're using a HUD approved lab. There's a local company that's not HUD approved. That's very important for an underwriter. Well inspections, asbestos, lead paint, pool, radon, all those different things. But at the end of the day, the most common problems are plumbing, electrical, things like that. So we have vetted, dude, we've gone through some, and we finally got it narrowed down to roughly one person in each category. Mm-hmm. And the way we arrived to that one person is they did good work. They had very few complaints, but they showed up. They showed up and they did the work when they were supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. So we're real proud of those, and you can go to our website at pro-techinspections.com, and you can go over to the side there and see contractors. Invaluable way to save agents time. So had an agent one time call me and very upset that we'd done a chimney inspection and she needed a quote on that chimney, and she called other chimney companies for the quote. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, we'll have to do our own inspection. Home inspector isn't qualified to do that. Mm-hmm. But we got the same qualification they do. Chimney Safety Institute of America, level 2 certified.
Yeah.
So they're again looking for work. She said, I spent 10 hours on this and I feel like it's a complete waste of time. And I said, well, hang on just a minute. You got a few minutes? She said, yeah, so hold on. So I called Wes at Top Hat Chimney, and he answered the phone, and I said, hey, Wes, I got so-and-so on the phone and need you to talk with her and help her out. And within 5 minutes, we had her connected with Wes. Mm-hmm. What she had spent 10 hours doing. That's the value we can bring here. Mm-hmm. And all of our contractors will do that. Roofer, plumber, electrician. Go check them all out. You've probably seen them at the bottom of the report. The other thing about that too is if we make little small mistakes and we choose to fix those. Mm-hmm. And what is a small mistake? Well, it varies from here to there, but we've got deals with these contractors that they take our back. Mm-hmm. And we can pay them a reduced rate, and that just empowers us to be able to make more things right.
Right. Right.
And what other inspector does that, has the forethought to think about, how do I take care of my clients in this way? Well, if I'm taking care of the client in that way, I'm taking care of you too, because every time that contractor says, well, your home inspector should have found this, they don't know whether they don't know what the conditions were at the time of inspection, but odds are they're coming in your office within the next week bringing you some hot donuts.
Some cookies.
Not even realizing they just threw you under the bus because you're probably the one who referred us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're all in this industry together. We have to work together. Mm-hmm. We just want to do good things, treat people right. We're going to make mistakes along the way. We ask you for your grace and your forgiveness when we do, but at the end of the day, we're going to sleep well at night and do the right things.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is so small that we do with our contractors, but brings a ton of value to our clients, is in the informational part of that report. There's a QR code that they can scan that takes them to that list of contractors. And, it may be, you get into that house and it's been, a month or two, something like that. you've been in there every single day. We're only in there for a couple hours. It's almost like a test drive, right? When they're in there, they're in that home all the time, and they're going to notice other small things throughout the time that they're living there, and they may want someone to come take a look at that. Well, if they can go back to that inspection report and boom, scan that QR code and get in touch with our contractors, I mean, that's huge, and a ton of time saved as well.
Well, I think one thing that you mentioned that we didn't touch on is we've always used a clinical psychologist to help us phrase and use our languages. But you mentioned small things, and one of the most common questions we get asked by agents is, why is this in the report? And it's exactly, you stole my line. I recognize that. We always have 3 to 5 small things in the report, because once they move in and they start seeing little blemishes and stuff there, they're going to go back and look at that report. And if they look and they see a few small things, it keeps everything from becoming a big thing.
Right.
So we always do that. But Blake, I want to end this because, we both have other things to do, but just spare it a moment. Mentioned earlier, September 1st, is when we're going to publish this. We're going to do a sewer scope special. I really believe in the power of a sewer scope. We have seen some very significant problems and repairs get made as a result of doing them. Our normal fee is $269. From September 1st through December 31st, it will not be extended. It will not start before September 1st. We're going to do a special, sewer scopes, $175. With a home inspection. All sewer scopes with a home inspection are $175. Save your clients nearly $100 and get them a peace of mind. If you've never done one, do it to learn how valuable they are and what you haven't been using, what you haven't been seeing. Because the average repair is about $6,500.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we find issues in about 80% of them that we do.
Around 70 to 80%, yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's new construction or a house built in the 90s.
Well, new construction we see a lot because they bring the skid steer and run over all the sewer lines and stuff when they're grading it out for the final grade before they lay the sod. But that's something I want to do. $175 sewer scope, September 1st through December 31st. Order has to be scheduled and inspection take place between September 1st and December 31st, $175 for any home inspection that you want to add a sewer scope to. I think we need to continue to show this. We were the first one to start doing those too.
Yeah.
And imitation's kind of the sincerest form of flattery. We do these for 5 or 6 other companies, but a few others are starting to pick it up, and they're charging $275, and they're doing that because we've spent a lot of effort demonstrating the value of them.
Yeah.
So at $175, the value is through the roof, even if it's just for peace of mind. So we're going to do that. I'll let you take care of you and Dustin take care of getting some social media stuff together for that. And starting September 1st, which should be today if we get this published right, $175 for any sewer scope with a home inspection.
Cool. Well, yeah, guys, if you haven't been following us on social media, please be sure to. That is where you'll see a lot of these updates, some more videos coming out about all that. But that's all that we've got for you guys today. Thank you guys, if you're still listening, for tuning in for the whole episode. It's always a pleasure. Dave, thank you for taking a little time out of your day to get in here and chat with me. But we're gonna end it on that note. If you guys have any questions or concerns, or just want to touch base with us and talk about any of this kind of stuff, give us a call, 864-386-3810. Be happy to help. But again, thank you for tuning in for Truth Over Harmony, and we will see you guys next time.